Hi and welcome back. Another episode here, MJG Grits HQ. So, a customer came to pick up their radio that we powder coated satin black. And whilst he's here, he's done quite a lot of stuff with us. He says to us, do you fancy putting a lift kit on a car for me? Instantly, no. I'm not putting a lift kit on a Land Rover, no offence to Land Rover guys, but that's not really our cup of tea. It's not really our job to put any kind of lift kit on. Anyway, he says to me, he's doing this rally, so I get a bit more interested. He says, well, you're never going to guess what. It's on a smart car. It's a smart car. So, why would you not do it? I've got all the instructions. It's from the Little Big Supply, which they're the original smart car lift company. And yeah, it looks quite straightforward. I've read the instructions, comes with how-to guide, which is basically common sense. You're just removing the spacers, removing the subframe and putting spacers in, moving the top mounts and putting bigger top mounts in, and you're extending the steering joint just to make it longer. And on the rear, you do the same with the rear. Extend the springs, and then you've got some dampers just to stiffen them up. So I thought I would show you, this isn't a how-to guide by the way, but it's just a general of let's get going and see how we can get on. I'll just time lapse through and I'll just do a bit of talking over and we'll just, we can lift a smart car. Let's go for it. One thing I did want to show you actually was the bonnet pole. Looked in the cab, couldn't really find it. Obviously went on YouTube. You do it all from the outside. It's not really a bonnet because the engine's in the back, but there's a clip here, there's a clip here, and you push them back, and it pushes it up. There is up. There is a strap in case it falls off on the road. So, wheels off, under tray, on their little instructions, it says to leave that hanging like that. But it's because the subframe itself is actually, drag you over, really quite small. So all I've got to do is just lower that down, put the extensions in, UJ, get the UJ off on the steering rack, which shouldn't be too hard. I think we're there. Easy. So just looking at the kit to see what we got. They're what I said about the top hats that go on top of the suspension. So all you do is take the nut off, you extend the extension on, bit of Loctite on there, and then that sits over the top of it, and then there's your 2-inch lift on the suspension front strut. So I've had a quick look for the instructions, but obviously these go together. These are all the same height. I presume there's 2 on the back, 2 on the front. So that'll be my next one for the front. Sorry, for the back. Front, back. It should be well. And that's it, I got it, that goes in there, that goes in there, that's that one. So front, back, back, 2 bolts for the shocks, with collars, that's it. Washers, there'll be washers and nuts for them, because you're replacing those completely, I believe. I'm just making up as I go along, but it sounds good. These are the things that stiffen up springs, lock them around the springs. Yeah, these will come to, there's the extension on the rack. And there's that bolt for that. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I will have a quick look through the instructions. It's pretty much top hats, extensions, there's your extension piece, and then the brackets for the back of the car. So we'll get to that in a minute. Got to do the front first. So I've got to basically drop the car down, take the top hats off so I can lower the suspension, bring it all down, put it back up, job done. Easy as pie. So just going to do the mechanical side of it now. So just inside here is the top for the strut on both sides. One in there, one in there. There's our strut. And then we're just going to release these bolts down here that removes that subframe. And that'll be the front done. I'll just show you what I'm struggling with. If you can see this nut here, that's what I'm trying to get undone. I've called in some backup to hold the other end of it. We'll get there. Well, I actually think we've now cracked the knot off. So anyone that says that this is an hour, I'm here. If anyone says that this is an hour fitting for a garage, it would be if everything was brand new and not seized on the nuts. I've done the other side, as you've seen. This side we're probably at least 20 minutes in, so got it off. Here it is. Lots of WD-40, but look at it. It's off. Job done. Okay, subframe, go. So that's all four of the subframe bolts removed. Now, I've just got to, if you can see it, just in that, I have to remove the steering rack joint and put the extension in. Once I've done that, I can lower down on our jack and I can fit the new bushes in. Ha! Okay. So I don't know what professional said it was an hour job because, well, it really ain't. If you can see here, I've now just temporarily put those in, still loose. You can just see them in there. The two blocks. The top hat mount is still on. Just put it on, which you could see. There it is with the extension on, nipped up. So that's going to go bang up in that hole. That's that bit done. That's that bit done. If you look in there, hopefully you can see in there where the light is. You see that we're now struggling with said. So one bit's on, just got to keep bolting the second bit up, and then the column goes on top of that. Let's crack on. So, probably the hardest thing that I'm going to have to do on this smart car, we stripped the threads on the original bolt, so we've got to use an Allen wrench. You can see the extension there in there. Just get this other side on with the blocks on. Fit the top hat this side. So basically I might have lied about the hardest job being the UJ. As you see, that time lapse was a time lapse, but it went on forever. So sorry for sitting there watching that. But that bolt, I've had to use a new bolt. They do say cross thread's better than no thread, but I don't believe in that. So I've had to re-tap the thread. Somehow it pushed up the original mount, and that's why I couldn't get it in. So I had to re-tap the thread, push it up, get it bolted in. It's now bolted in. We're back down. Just got to do the top hats, get the top hats on. This one's still rusty, but it's not covered in WD. I'm going to lift them up and get them on now. And I think I've got to sort the under tray out, but I'll do the under tray once I've started the back. I'm going to get them on, and I think that's the front done. I say think. I might read the instructions in a minute and see what they say. So, there it is. I'm going to pop that on top. But I used my initiative here. That's a big word for me. And I've used a jack up on the bottom of the subframe to push it up, so I'm not struggling on my own. So I'm just going to nip that up, do the same the other side, completed the front. Not a how-to guide, but a little trick. The jack, the more pressure you put on the jack, the easier the top mount is to do up. So lots of pressure, it will then squash that piston in, stop it from spinning. Right, last thing, this is definitely last thing. The rubber cush to go between the springs. I've done the other side, well, I had an argument with the other side, so hopefully I'm going to film this one, less arguments. I've cut my head too. This smart car has got it in for me, I'm telling you. So that was quite easy to do. The time lapse probably made it look quite easy. Probably wasn't a very long time lapse either. Just had to pull the spring apart to get it in. They're quite, well, they're very flimsy, but that's it. Front complete. Onto the back. Okay, onto the back. So, up here, one spacer, same the other side, two spacer, extension for the spring here, and then spin you around here, take this out, put the bracket in, drill said hole in the back, that should be it. Right, here, spacer. So I think we're going to loosen that first with the jack, lower it down, line the spacer up somewhere where it needs to go, hopefully the spring doesn't fall out, take the shock out. Again, not a how-to video, but I put the transmission stand, if you can see, just underneath it, here, just to stop that. So I've let that bolt go, I've took the spring out, got to put the casing back on it, and there's loads of movement there now, without popping the drive shaft in, because it can't go any lower than this, because we've got hold of it. So I'm just going to see how easy it's going to be to get that spring casing back in. I've kind of got to do both sides at once together. So I've already popped off the cap, there's like a cover on it, which you saw me time lapse off. This then is going to be extended longer. New spring in, block in, just going to knit that side up with the new extension in, so I can then move on to the other side, and hopefully, fingers crossed, all goes to plan. So that's now the kit for this side. That's the extension for the shock with a bolt. There's the spacer, and this on top of here, into the top mount, in there. Okay, so got the spring in, took some doing, top hat on, adjusted, little bracket just screwed in now, original bolt with a spacer, give it a little tap so it lines up, but that'll all pull in nice. Here, got to drill a hole now to put a bolt through, and then I've got to feed a spanner up there to get on the back of the bolt, just to make that brace tight. So, drill out. Little note to self, don't ever take this on again. A lot of mucking around, I'm going to say, modifications. It's never easy trying to modify anything anyway, but like my saying I always say, if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's definitely, let me just look at you. It definitely isn't on the driveway kind of job. It definitely isn't something that would only take an hour. Like I said when I was arguing with the front, it is an hour job. It's only an hour job if everything was brand new and would come off. So I'm just tightening up the bottom shock after I've drilled the bracket, after I've finally managed to get the bush bit in place. Now, it wasn't the easiest, but persevered and we got there. I've now got the bit of WD just to slide it in, but I didn't want to put too much WD on because the problem I had was I was going to lose it. And the minute I lost it, you see I was just manipulating it with the chisel, just or the pry bar, whatever you want to call it, my assistant, just to get it in place. Now I'm just trying to get the nut on the back of the extension, which I'll show you there. So this is the original bolt, it's basically been moved up, and I've just put a nut on the back of there, just winding that in. Another spanner down there in the gap, it's a nylock, so it should then pinch that up lovely. I've done the bolt, drilled the hole and done the hole in the back, 17s. I've nipped that up to tight. That ain't going anywhere. It's quite thick, that subframe or rear beam, like that. Give that the official click. So that's that one tight. Just tighten the bottom of that one too. Now that's in place. I will torque these up anyway. I'll have a run around and just check. So that is complete. Let me get you out of the way here. Top hat on, bracket on. Now just got to struggle, well I say struggle, I've got plenty of gear here, so I've just got to lift that up, put the spacer in. But I have got, again, been a godsend, this transmission jack. I'm just going to pump this jack all the way up and then use the jack in the centre of it, and it will just, I'll show you in a sec, once it comes into shot. There it is. And come up, not close enough so I can't get on the bolt because that would be silly. And I'll just raise her up now into, I can manipulate that side to side anyway, but that looks about right. So, should be a case of, get me washer, another 17, that should fit in there like, too far. Like that. Then, I should just be able to post this up here. And that, I'm just going to finger tight it because I need to get to the other side to be able to release the other side. But don't forget, I've already dropped 2 inches now. And that, one side complete. So the other side, I'm halfway through the other side. Like I said, you've got to do that to give me relief this side. Once that falls, yeah, other side in. So normally it's plain sailing. Once you've done one side, it's normally not that hard to do the other side because you've only just done it and you remember how you done it. Well, I do remember how I done it, but what I can't remember is why I had so much trouble getting this bolt in on the bottom shock is what I am now. So the angle is completely different. I don't help that the bush in the old shock isn't very healthy. So I'm just going to take the bolt out, get a podger in there and try and feed it through enough to then straighten it the right way to get it in, if that makes any sense to you. Yeah, jammed in. We're not doing too well. I'm going to use a, try and get the bolt out now. The bolt is already in half in, it's kind of in the way. You have to wind it out because it's so tight in there. See if it'll wind out. Yeah, it'll wind out. Don't try this at home is my verdict to the jacking up a smart car. Definitely do what this customer done and pay someone to do it. So this is what I'm struggling with. I don't know if you can see the angle of it, but it's quite hard to see. It should be, oh there, look. That should be coming down here, like this, not up like this. So every time I get lined up to get the bolt in, it pings out. See? No go. Just about manipulate it, it's quite hard. So that, I'm not going to bore you anymore. I'm literally going to get that done right now. I've only gone and done it. If you look in there, see the end of it? Slight little chamfer. Get the grinder out and put a slight chamfer on it. Just to pull it in. Only very, very slight, but just enough. Got loads left on the end of the bolt over here. Got to get the nut on now. Crank her up. Finally, we're finished. So the bolt we were struggling with now in, all tight. Top that in, lovely. Spacer in. Front, extension in, cap in, spacers in, under tray, wheels on the floor. There it is. 2-inch, jacked up monster. So I believe he can only, for the rally thing he's doing, he can get another set of rears that's slightly wider and he can put them on the front. That's all he can do for the modifications to it. There we go, is jacked up. See little spacers in there. So, all in all, I'm never doing that ever again. So thank you very much for spending the time to watch the, not how to, but how to lift a smart car using a 2-inch lift kit. Are we going to do it again? Definitely not, but we've had fun doing it. We've had some stresses, some painfuls. The kit itself needs a bit of modification, but all in all, if you are getting one of these done, make sure you get someone professional to do it. So if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. There's plenty more coming to the channel. We've got the ST180, we've got the Mark 1 Escort. We'll even get the Cosy Power P100 out for a bit of a spin. So yeah, keep it real.